Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Pushing Boundaries, a unique conference for community-driven innovation and research brought to you by UKRI and the Young Foundation. I'm Helen Goulden, I'm the Chief Exec of the Young Foundation. I'm delighted to welcome my co-host, Sam Gichki, co-chair of the I Will movement and youth researcher in Youth Lives, a project funded through UKRI Citizen Science Collaboration grants. Today, we're excited. So you're going to be exploring all sorts of inspiring stories, real-world learnings, and UKRI-funded projects and funded projects beyond that, spanning a whole range of different fields, sectors, and crucially different ways of working. And together, and I mean together because there's going to be lots of interactive opportunities for you today, both in this room and out and beyond, we're going to be exploring how we push the boundaries to open up opportunities for more people to get involved in research and innovation and spark ideas together for how we might do much more of that. And where better to explore all of that is in the British Library. So how we learn, create, mobilise knowledge is core to this building. In this building, you've got 200 million items and artefacts and books stretching across 464 miles of shelves, shelving that grows 5 miles every year, each containing words and wisdom representing this immense capsule of human knowledge. So, but who creates knowledge, who it serves, how it's used to create innovation and change is one of our key questions for today. How do we envisage a world where research and innovations become something that everybody can participate with, that everyone can see, feel, touch, and feel the benefit of? And what does it really mean to open up those doors to participation?
And I think if we do want to open up the doors to opportunity, we need to work differently, more creatively and especially more innovatively so we can tackle the challenges that we are facing within our work. And for today, that means some very specific things. Based on the discussions with our accountability group, which is a group of citizen scientists, researchers, and community researchers as well, we've been working closely with to develop this event. And within that, we have a set of key principles that we want all of you to embody today. That means communicating in clear and uncomplicated ways. I know this would be very difficult for the academics. We have a lot of academic jargon all the way from RCTs to target trials, but let's keep that to a minimum and focus on simple ways of communicating so people in this space, especially those that have lived experience, are able to understand the work that we do. It's also important to recognize that all of us work in very different ways. Some of us like talking a lot, like me and Helen, and other people like listening. But all of that is fine as long as we are considerate of each other and working together to be creative. Also, engage in active listening. I think we've all got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we'll use them proportionally. Listen more than you speak, just so we can actually understand the different views that shape our experiences and the ways we think. This event is lots of different people who will enjoy meeting participants, speakers throughout the day, but all of us will have different understandings of things, we will have different perspectives, but that does not mean we can't learn from one another. So let's kick off and work on understanding of all of this different perspectives, innovation, be creative, and let's make room for people who may not normally have a voice in these spaces.
So with that all done, I think we're going to be opening up our conference with someone I'm very excited to welcome. Please give an incredibly warm welcome to Stian Westlake, Executive Chair at the ESRC. Thank you, Stian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Helen and Sami, and thank you for that introduction. I'm really grateful to Young Foundation and UKRI colleagues for organising everything today. It's a wonderful venue, and I'm so excited about the discussions that we're going to be having today. All of that, though, absolutely relies on all of you. So I'm thrilled that we have such a wide-ranging audience from so many places, backgrounds, professions and walks of life. So thank you for making a journey. I know some of you who come from nearby, some of you who come from very far. We really appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your energy and goodwill that you're going to be putting into the day. I think what I hope brings us all together here, our sort of shared mission for the day, is the goal of really transforming the relationship between society and research and innovation. And those two concepts, to me, perhaps to all of us, should be intimately linked to one another, but we all know that they aren't always. Sometimes the world of research and innovation can be distant. Sometimes social movements don't do as much as they could to do research and innovation. And I think what so many of the projects led by people who are here today show is that there is a different way. And I would love us to build on the energy that we have all brought to those projects, to plot and scheme about new ways that we can do things, and to take that energy to transform the wider system. So, as Helen said, my name is Stian. I'm Executive Chair of the Economic and Social Research Council, which is part of UK Research and Innovation. We are the public body that funds research and innovation in the UK, which includes research in universities, but also research done by businesses, community groups across the piece. I want to say a little bit about why UKRI is interested in this and why we support work in this area, in the hope that that can help us on the journey of transformation that we're all embarked on. So the still relatively new government has set out 3 goals for what UKRI should be doing and how it wants to accelerate innovation through research and development. And those are, first of all, to invest in what they will call curiosity-driven research. So research that draws on the curiosity of individuals, of groups, of researchers. And they see that as the kind of wellspring of making society and the world better in the long term. They want us to invest in R&D to drive economic growth and to drive the kind of prosperity on which future investment depends and our quality of life depends. And they are also adamant that R&D should extend benefits to everyone across the UK and solve global challenges to improve our quality of life. And those all seem like really inspiring missions. And they're ones in which citizen science, community-led research, I think, has a really vital role to play. We know from research that the Young Foundation has done, commissioned by us, and through work by the Campaign for Science and Engineering, their Discovery Decade project, that there is a real challenge in terms of the link between the world of research and innovation and wider society as a whole. There are a lot of people that don't feel super connected to what goes on in research and innovation. It's seen often as something that happens in science labs and is done by a particular group of people who don't necessarily have much connection to the wider world, and particularly the concern that it doesn't always value the same things that people value. Now, a really important goal for UKRI is to help break down these barriers between society as a whole and the world of research and innovation. And at ESRC, we're particularly keen on looking into social action, some of the underlying societal issues that we might want to work in there. UKRI put together a couple of years ago a public engagement strategy that's meant to deliver this, which relates to many of the things that we're going to be talking about today. And in that, we are aiming to build a sense of shared endeavour when it comes to research and innovation by making it relevant to everyone, making sure the benefits of research and innovation are widely shared, they don't just accrue to a small group, but then crucially to create opportunities for everyone by inspiring and encouraging the next generation about research and innovation. And we do a few things from that point of view, some of which will be discussed today, some of which people here are involved in, some of which may form some of the context. So we fund deliberative dialogue. Some of you will have worked with ScienceWise, who run really interesting dialogues on how science and innovation issues affect people's lives and how people's values should be translated into them. We fund what you might call sort of infrastructure, like the annual Public Attitudes to Science survey, which is a really important way of tracking how science and research are perceived more generally, and really helps inform many of the things that we work on here. We do a lot of investment in terms of encouraging children and young people to get involved in research, so things like British Science Week. But then crucially, and I think this is particularly relevant to what we're talking about today, investing in equitable, collaborative and participatory research, drawing on a whole range of traditions, some of them in the social sciences, some of them in health research, some of them in more classic STEM research. And that includes some of the community-driven research and innovation investments that many of you are involved in which our aim is to help people to drive their own research and to build partnerships with people in the research and development system to drive wider societal benefits and to kind of release the agenda. Some of these projects include, for example, the local policy innovation partnerships, which are place-based investments to bring together communities to tackle really important social issues locally. Things like the Highlands and Islands Climate Change Community Grants Programme, which really involved communities in the Highlands and Islands of Scotland, leading partnerships with researchers to tackle some of the local-based issues arising from climate change. And the Community Knowledge Fund, where community-led projects identified and delivered research challenges. We've had a bunch of really interesting projects emerge through that, like, for example, the Community Interest Climate Hebrides project, using cutting-edge mapping software to understand climate change challenges faced by by communities in the Outer Hebrides. And this is something where the combination of cutting-edge research and local needs, I think, was really transformative. We would really love this kind of community-driven approach to become standard practice. There are some bits of the research and innovation ecosystem where this really is people's second nature. There are some where it is not. We would like to make this a more normal thing to do, which I think is not just good in terms of the benefits that science brings, but it will lead to better science as well. We're looking at how we design our funding from this point of view, including the opportunity to provide funding directly to communities, how we work with universities and more traditional research establishments to help them on their journey to working with communities effectively, and working across other sectors to ensure that the research and innovation system is joining up effectively across these kind of areas. I think this is a really big opportunity, and projects like the Community Researcher Networks, which again, I know there are people involved in here, which is supporting 9 networks over 5 years to create new infrastructure for community-led research, are the beginnings of, I hope, a wider movement. And I think today is a really good opportunity to try and take that movement forward. I hope today that you have the opportunity to build new connections, to nourish existing connections, to talk about and advance the thinking on projects that you're involved in, and also to provide feedback to other people. So there's a huge wealth of knowledge in this room, in today, that I would really love people to draw on. I think it's also, I would say, an opportunity to celebrate the success that projects have had already. One of the really important opportunities here is to show how community-driven research is not just the right thing to do, but it's something that actually makes the research and innovation system better as well. With that in mind, I wish everyone a really successful day today. I hope it's a useful way of spending your time. I hope you'll find that you go away from this invigorated and with new directions to take your projects in. And thank you very much for giving generously of your time today. Thank you.